Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of My Two Cents with Bryan Tweed. I'm Bryan, and I'm really excited to have my secondhand man from a sales standpoint over the years to join My Two Cents today. Saif Khan, who is our Assistant Vice President of Sales and Key Accounts for our North American region and IMS People Possible, is joining me. And his background in supporting customers in IT and engineering is very critical. So I wanted his perspective on the industry. So, Seth, welcome to My Two Cents.
Thank you, Bryan. Thank you so much for inviting me on this. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And both of us just came back from the Staffing Industry Analysts Executive Forum, and we saw that while IT and engineering staffing demand has remained fairly soft, there is an expected increase in demand as we go forward in 2025 and into 2026. And while it may seem counterintuitive that staffing firms would want to really think about and maybe perhaps investing in an outsourcing solution if they haven't already, but this could be actually a perfect time for that. So if you could, Seth, just kind of walk us through a little bit about what are some of the advantages of utilizing an outsourcing firm if you're an IT or engineering staffing organization.
Absolutely, Bryan. And the very first one that goes with most of the people truly believe in is the cost reduction. But I would like to talk about something which is more and beyond the cost reduction, something which is the value for money. You get upscaling, downscaling time like plug and play. So I'll give you a little background about how the concept of IMS comes into the picture when we are partnering with an offshore or with an on-site staffing company. So it starts with identifying the resource. Now, I put it in very simple words just for everyone to understand is how would you hire somebody back in your US office, Bryan? If I just ask you that question. On a pretty much straight line, first you look at the resumes. Once you like the resume, you call the person for the interview. Once you like the person during the interview, you give the offer and the person starts working for you. This is exactly what we provide, is just in the virtual world. So we'll be presenting you with a bunch of resumes of the candidates which are available in our resource center. You like the resume, we'll set up the interview. It could be over Teams or Zoom at your convenience. Once you like the resource, only that person would be put up on your project. It's just that the person you're hiring is your individual sitting in your office, which is 4,000 miles away. So that's how the whole concept starts from. Then there are, down the line, Bryan, I'll talk about what are the things that make us differ and how we move ahead. But I believe this is something that I wanted to give a lot of people. They think that, okay, we'll be giving up anybody individual to perform. We'll put up anybody on their project without them knowing who the person is, how the person talks, how the person looks. So this is just to highlight that it doesn't happen this way with IMS. We give you a right to choose who's going to be your recruiter.
Well, absolutely. I think it's that co-sourcing mentality, right? And how we operate is we want our customers to be invested in who they're bringing on board, who's going to be a part of that project, just like they would hiring somebody locally in their markets. Talk to me, Seth, a little bit about just the types of services that IMS offers to the technical and engineering staffing firms.
Absolutely. Again, Bryan, I'll take you a step back on about recruiting these individuals. How does that happen with IMS? Mm-hmm. So with IMS, we go for college campus drives. It could be in IT and engineering colleges. We go ahead and try to identify the resources who have that relevant, knowledge about the terminologies and the jargons. And once we go ahead, we hire them, we bring them onto our system, and we take them we let them undergo a training of 5 weeks, which is a classroom training. So in this classroom training, it's more about knowledge about recruitment, different tax structure, terminologies, jargons about US recruitment, so far and so on, including the different geography as they have different time zones. What are they called? What are the differences? So far and so on. Once the classroom training is on, they are trained upon key elements like ATS. Usually, most of our clients utilize Bullhorn and Job Diva. I would say 95% of them. So each and every recruiter is hands-on trained on Bullhorn and Job Diva. Then about the Boolean search, key string, so far and so on. Once the training is completed, they undergo a certification process. Now, this certification process is conducted by the quality team from our IMS. And once they do get certified, that means when the quality audit team finds them fit to be on the floor, they get the certification cleared and then they passed on to the floor in form of on-job training. So they are still not out of training, but now they move on to the hands-on training of the job where they sit beside an experienced resource and they execute the duties. So they work as if they are the recruiters, definitely under the supervision of that experienced resource and the executive management, which is there on the floor to manage the whole thing. Once they get complete their 2 or 3 weeks of on-job training, they get fit to be on the bench. So they are fit to be put up on any project or fit to go on the interview for a client. So this is how the process starts right from the beginning. And once they get selected, the interview is cleared, they become a client's property managed by IMS. Absolutely.
Sounds easy peasy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Doing it for 19 years now.
Yeah, very good. And so once they're deployed, what are some of the things that the resources will be doing on behalf of our customers?
Well, so if I talk about the different models, as you rightly asked, Brian, so there are 3 different models that we provide depending on a client's need, whichever they deem fit could be offered to them. And again, I'll go with the model one by one, and then eventually I'll talk something that in detail about each individual as well, model as well. So the first model that we provide to our clients is what we call as full desk recruitment, which is something from start to finish. Once we have the requisition, either it's through the VMS access that we get from our client side, or it could be through the email, or it could be through any Google Doc that client would have shared with our recruiters. Once they have the requisition, they go ahead and try to identify the resource from 2 standard job boards that we provide to each and every client that comes on board, which is Career Builder and Monster. Along with that, we render out our internal ATS, which is our internal repository of 10.2 million CVs. So the resource will be having an access to these tools in order to go ahead and identify the resource or the candidate. Once they find the candidate, that's not the job done yet. So that's when they pick up the phone and start calling the candidate and talking to the candidate, asking them certain preliminary questions in order to vet them. Because if I have the resume, it's not necessary it's the updated resume. There might be certain skill set or certain certification that would be needed in order to get the job. So the resume doesn't have that. So in order to ensure that this is a perfect candidate, a perfect fit, they do a screening. It's done through voice, or it could be through email, or it could be through chat. But usually we prefer a voice screening where all the candidate's profile is being vetted, screened, because Brian, I'm sure you would agree that post-COVID, a lot of time we have come across a situation where the resume is of someone else, and when we talk to the person, it's someone else.
Right.
So the shamming of the resume. Now, our recruiters are trained or a master into vetting that and ensuring that is the same person whose resume is there in front of their eyes is the one that they are talking to. So they ask open-ended questions like, okay, your last job, which floor was your office, or do you have Starbucks opposite to that? Something like point-blank questions to understand, okay, what is the confidence level of the person, or how do they respond to that question? Is basically few of the checklists that I'm talking about in vetting the candidate. Once the candidate is vetted, says yes to all it could be relocation, it could be pay rate negotiation, everything is taken care by IMS resource. Once the candidate has said yes to everything, all the check boxes are ticked, they ask for a right to represent over the email. And for this reason, we ask our clients to provide us an email under the domain of their company because we provide white label service. So we would not be going ahead in the market presenting to the IMS. We would be enacting as if we are part of our clients sitting out there in the US itself. To an extent that your recruiter's LinkedIn profile would also have our client as an employer. So we provide complete white label service, and IMS ensures that we get the recruiter to work daily, get the output what is expected, and ensure there's a smooth transition of data and everything is in secure way. So once the candidate profile is submitted to the end client, the interview coordination, everything is taken care by IMS Recruiter till the time the offer is rolled out. So right from sourcing the candidate till the interview and the offer is what we call as full desk recruitment. And this is we provide usually most of our clients who utilize this kind of model is on the VMS side or someone who has a boutique firm and is a one man show who has too many things to take care of. In that case, we definitely take the responsibility. And in other terminology, in other words, we also call this as function outsourcing. So you outsource the whole function to us, and we ensure that we give you the output that we commit. So this is full desk, Brian. I'm sure it would be clear to you, but I'll wait for you in the end if there are any questions that you would like to ask.
No, it makes sense, and I presume that some of our customers may not want a full desk type of service, and so does IMS do a partial of that process?
Absolutely, absolutely. So specifically, as I said, full desk is utilized by our clients which are more on the VMS MSP side or our small ones. But we also have we understand the kind of relationship our clients build with the hiring manager, and we don't want to jeopardize that because I know it takes years and years to build that relationship, and we respect and value that. So for that reason, we have one model which is one step lower to full desk, and what we call it as pre-screening. So in the difference between full desk and pre-screening is, Brian, whatever I explain you in full desk is covered in pre-screening except for end client submission. So we don't submit to the end client and we don't do the rate negotiation. However, we do provide them with a range because unless and until we don't provide a range to our candidates, we're not going to get the right to represent. So a range is provided, which is communicated by the account manager or somebody from the staffing company account manager that we have will communicate the pay range, and that is communicated to the candidate in order to take their interest and right to represent. So this is what we call as pre-screening. Again, we provide you with the resource, we provide you with the technology, the job boards, our internal ATS, phone lines, whichever area code that you would like the recruiter to use. We provide you everything of that. It's just that in full desk, we coordinate the interview as well. In pre-screening, we don't do that. So once we submit the candidate to your account manager, that's the end of IMS recruiter's role.
Well, thank you, Seth. And I know from a sourcing standpoint, we also can provide customer support if they have a large new customer that they may be onboarding, or if there's a particular project where they need an onslaught of candidates that even their recruiters can reach out to. We can provide that support and service as well. But Seth, you've given us such a great amount of information. The last question I have is that you communicate with customers and prospects all the time. Curious if there's any success stories that you'd like to share about the impact that the services that you've outlined have provided to the IT and engineering staffing industry.
Absolutely. So I can name. I don't want to name the client because we have an NDA with all our clients, so I cannot give the name. But I can always give you the specifications. So we had this one client with 9 resources that was supporting this client into IT and engineering domain. And we were able to get around 20% increase in the placements. Absolutely. Now, 20% increase in the placement is not a small number. And this is I'm referring to one of the clients, but we have quite a few along with that we were able to create an impact on the coverage, on the submission, on the interview to start ratio. But eventually, when you ask for placements, so well, we did had close to 20%. To be very precise, it's 18.67% more placements with one of the clients where we have 9 resource providing support into IT and engineering domain.
Very good. I know that it's all about coverage, and so increasing that percentage. We bring a lot of our customers from tier 3 or tier 2, to tier 1, so there's more opportunity, and so the impact that we can provide is significant. So, but Seth, thanks so much for your time and giving an overview of the services we provide, and the type of impact that we make to our IT and engineering clients. And even though the business right now is dormant, the recovery is coming, and so I think it's a great time for all of our of those that are listening to reach reach out to Seth if you have interest in exploring an outsourcing partnership. Maybe you're using an outsourcing provider right now, but there's a concern around the ability to scale in the future. And we've got the resources to go through all that training. So this is a great time to start that dialogue so that you're ready for the onslaught of recs to come through, and really excited about what's to come. So thank you, Seth, for participating in my 2 cents.
Pleasure. I just want to end with a closure that some wise men said it's always advisable to build the bridges before the floodgates open. So reach out to me. You have the details in the video below. Thanks, Bryan. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Seth.